All right. Well, happy holidays to everybody. Not this way. Hello, Jeff Peterson with FSEA,
Hey, Jeff
in
Peterson.
the Digital Embellishment Alliance. Welcome everybody today. Thanks for taking a little time. I know it's the holidays, or the holidays are almost here, so we appreciate you getting on here right at the end of the year. Just real quick, so everybody on this call knows, we're going to take a little different approach with these catch ups for 2026. And we're really sort of starting that now with this one, where before we had a subject matter, sort of left it open for anybody to contribute. We're going to make a more of a Q&A with a specific person involved in the industry from the digital embellishment side. And it could be somebody from the brand side. It could be somebody from the OEM side, or the actual user side. We're going to pick some different individuals, have some questions, and then leave it open for questions. So that's kind of a little different approach we're going to take for 2026. But thought we'd start today. And what a better way to start than the king of digital embellishments as our Q&A guest, Mr. Kevin Abergel.
Hey, definitely not the king, but awesome to see you guys
But
here.
thank you, Kevin, for agreeing to be with us and answer a few questions. And certainly, I think your insight, as long, you've been in the industry for 100 years, so you know a little bit. Did you
Well,
rely?
I saw I didn't make the under 40 club at the FSCA. I was really disappointed about that, but I missed it by a year. I just got too much gray, just that touch of gray that came up this year, so
Touch of
it's
a
not working.
gray, yeah, a little bit less up here.
Yeah, that's been a problem. That's 100% been a problem.
It's better than
Well,
nothing.
I'm headed where you're at, buddy. It's not going to be too long.
yeah, it's coming that direction. But again, thank you, Kevin, for agreeing to be on with us. And we're going to go through a few questions. And there's Miss Sabine. So we know some questions will be coming from that direction. But we'll start out with
I
a
hear you
few.
guys. You know that, right? I can hear you.
Oh, no, she can hear. So,
Awesome.
see, there's a Katie. Thanks, Katie. Good to have you on as well. So we're getting a few more jumping on. Kevin, we'll start with a few questions, and certainly, Sabine, that I'm teasing, and Christine, anybody else that wants to ask some questions as we start our conversation, jump in. That's never a problem. But Kevin, I'm going to ask you a first question, and we'll go through this. The first one that we had talked about, I sent you these, that there's still certainly challenges for commercial printers, digital printers, carton, let's say folding carton producers, and others who are looking at adding digital embellishment technology to the services. You know, what do you think some of those challenges are for these different types of businesses moving into digital embellishments? What are some of the challenges they need to overcome as they start in their, quest into the digital embellishment market?
So it's a good question, and I think there's two ways to answer this. And obviously, I think there's the one thing that like most printers in the commercial space have in common is that number one, it's really hard for them to train their sales team to talk about value and understand how to sell something that's more expensive and not price, price, price. So there's the whole sales conversation, training the salespeople to have that conversation. I think the other part of that issue that they're having is that a lot of people have no idea how to market it. They don't know. God, I mean, I work with printers all day, and so does everybody else here. Like, I don't understand. I still hasn't connected for me, other than people potentially like Christine does a great job marketing herself. A lot of the printers that we work with don't have any marketing department, don't have anybody in the marketing thing. Their website was created in 1998. They haven't updated it. So there's this this mentality that I'm going to buy this machine and jobs are going to shake out of the sky, and they don't understand that it takes a lot of work to get people to understand what you do, especially if you're doing something new. So putting up like a LinkedIn post or putting something on your website that nobody's going to visit doesn't necessarily get the work out there or the word out there so that they can start generating some sales. So I think sales is one critical pillar. The next critical pillar is marketing. And then finally, I think there's a combination of design, and I think that's something that Sabine and the Digital Embellishment Alliance have been helping us with. Matt's monthly session is people are afraid of it. There's like a boogeyman attached to designing for digital embellishment. We talk about this issue all the time with Sabine. These people are coming out of schools. They have no idea how to design for print, much less print embellishments. And I think that's fundamentally something that will kind of stop the sale. So if you're able to teach your salespeople how to talk about this stuff, get the word out, and actively either offer design as a printer, as an add-on, or offer training to your customers on how to design it, or resources, or potentially things like what Mike is doing with Adobe to make it super easy. I think those are three of the fundamental issues that need to be overcome. Then there's estimating and pricing. That's another thing. But I think if you look at the top three, those are the big three that we're seeing. When it comes to folding carton, I think it's a different question. And I had some good conversations with a lot of folding carton from both sides of the equation. You look at somebody like Matt Redbear, he works for Elite Print Finishing. All he does is folding carton at very, very long runs. Other people, and they're very, for example, very successful with that kind of a business model. Some of the other folding carton people that have tried to go digital and have tried it, well, not just like put it like really, really tried, they said that fundamentally the math just didn't work for their business model. And sometimes when you're looking at these companies who are unfolding cartons, there's minimum runs are potentially much higher than that threshold of where digital makes sense. And so unless they're doing something really special like variable data or numbering or something that really needs to stand differently, it's hard to make the case for folding carton and digital embellishment if you're not going after that under 5,000 sheet, under 10,000 sheet type of market.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Just to brag about somebody that's on this call right now would be Miss Yardley in Print Panther. From what you're talking about, Kevin, that if you're going to get involved in digital embellishment, from what I see, and you're just going to say, okay, now I have a jet varnish or I have a Scodix, and think that the business is going to come into your back door because you now have it, it's not going to happen. I think you see that seen that too, and you better be very in touch with your customers and understand the design side and produce unbelievable samples like Christine does at Print Panther that showcases what can be done with the process. And that's how I think you're successful with it. Christine, do you agree with that?
I do, I do.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I'm always trying to up that bar, and this year I was trying to figure out a way to do it with the digital embellishment guide because I want to change it up a little. So I've actually been working with the students at TMU, and they've done all their portfolio covers, which I've embellished. So I'm going to do the book this year on all their covers.
That's awesome.
So
Oh,
I think it's
yeah.
a really good one because it shows what's coming up the line.
Yeah,
I love
think
that.
that's great. Awesome.
And I just want to give a shout out. Matt Redbear and Ryan Moskin are working on a really cool project with Cal Poly. I don't know, Ryan, do you want to plug what you're doing with the students there too, to get the word out?
Yeah, we're working on this basically a designer collab, and it's called Out of This World Embellishments, all focused on space themes. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to open the doors to designers to come in and just design whatever they want, space themed, and we're going to give them a couple little tutorials on how do you design for digital embellishment, what are the possibilities, what can it do. We're going to do one-on-one sessions where they have the design up and say, all right, well, what about this? What about that? And it's going to be very much a good hand-holding session for people that have never done this before. And the idea here is to get them involved and then have their work printed in a global sample pack.
I think that's
Yeah.
great. Great way to get these young people more involved. 100%.
Mm.
Kevin, another question for you.
Sure.
What segments of the, I guess, overall printing industry do you see, and what you have seen really has the best fit for digital embellishments? Where are those?
Like now? or where
I'd
it's
say
going?
now, and now or in the future, where are those? Where is the best? What are the best fits for using that type of embellishment technology? Let's say versus more conventional methods. Where is the success really happening
So
out there in the marketplace?
So I would say where it is today and where it has been, I think, for the past 10, 15 years, still is largely in the commercial printing sector. So really, we looked at the key applications being run for digital embellishment in our study that we did with What They Think this year. Number one was business cards. People are selling it $1, $1.15 per card that's embellished. And I think, you look at you 21 cards up on a 13 by 19 sheet. That's a $20 sheet that you're selling if you're doing it right. So there's really good margins in that. Business cards, brochures, we're seeing obviously in the US market specifically, we're seeing really strong use of digital embellishment in direct mail, much less in other parts of the world because of GDPR and all that. But really, I think we're seeing that was the number three application this year, was that. And then we're all obviously seeing invitations is a big one too. So people are using it for invitations. One of the things that was kind of really surprising to us was books. And, we had kind of written off books during COVID. Books really made a very strong comeback. And almost everybody that we talked to was really looking to was doing book covers and embellished book covers. Where I think it's going, and this is very clear, is it's definitely headed towards labels and folding carton. And there's a very simple reason for this is that Christine, if you're selling somebody a job who's let's say a brand, what typically what kind of budget does that come out of? Does it come out of their marketing budget or does it come out of their production budget?
Well, I think it depends on what it is. If it's a label, it's going to come out of their production budget. If it's a direct mail piece or a coupon, it's going to come out of their marketing budget. So it depends what the item is. But I think if
Exactly.
I totally agree with your label thing, by the way. I think labels are really, like think wine. Think of a label for a bottle of wine. The label for the wine is coming out of production, but the invite to come and drink the wine at the release of that
Exactly.
vintage is coming out of marketing.
Now, all the printers here on the call, you guys, and I think we have two of them on the call, right? And we might have some more that are not on video.
Yep.
When the economy is doing well, you guys are doing well. But when the economy is not doing well, what's the first budget that they slash? It's the marketing budget. And so the reason that I say the future is really going to be folding carton and labels is that that kind of a market is more or less immune to the fluctuations that you see when you have good or bad economies. So you're tied into a different budget line, and that budget line is much stronger and much less prone to cutting. Typically, you want to sell more products, right? And so the embellishments typically help you do that. And so I like the way that you put that, Christine, that for a bottle of wine, the label and the invite to come drink it are two completely different things, right? And they come out of two different budgets. So that's where I see the future. I think there still needs to be speed and costs that need to be, from a technology standpoint, realigned to make those things possible. But I think that as an industry, those are things that you can't do without. I can't ship you a product without a box, and I can't sell you a product that doesn't have a label on it. And fundamentally, that's why I think it's such an important part of where the future is headed. So I'm excited about that.
I think
I
the other
think our
part of
two
it.
growth
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go-
our two growth markets this year have been posters, which is kind of cool with our B2C sheet for really cool country and western band that I love. So that was cool. And also, this is really strange, but those little teeny things that go on the cigars.
Oh yeah, this is the rings. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a client that, we did 1,000 or 2,000. Now we're doing thousands and thousands of these teeny little things. And each one's different and it's very cool. And I mean, that would be a market that I wouldn't have dawned on me, to be honest, but
That's that. Well, what's kind of funny is that we got the number five best-selling application this year in digital embellishment was point of sale display, which is basically embellished posters
Right.
that is next to the product that you're selling on the store shelf. So I think that's kind of in line with where you're going with that bigger format stuff. That's going to get your attention. Really interesting though. But I'm surprised. Like posters is one thing. I'm surprised people haven't just absolutely gone gangbusters on art. I want to create maybe the tactical art agency and just do AI art with embellishments and just sell that online. I can't believe that hasn't taken off yet.
I would agree. And when you say displays, Kevin, that can even include like a table tent that might be in
Right.
a bar or a restaurant. I think, that's a growth potential.
Yeah.
And I think what you're talking about in packaging does make sense. Direct mail as well. And the other part of packaging, meaning labels and cartons, you said, of course, that comes out of a production, budget versus marketing. Well, the other thing with that part of the business, what happens in marketing? People cut back and they say, well, we're going to do more internet, we're going to do
Right.
Google, or we're going to, do more on Facebook or LinkedIn. Well,
Right.
guess what? The packaging side doesn't get affected by that as well.
Exactly.
It has to be done. So I think that's very interesting. I tend to agree. Matt, I might ask you, because as Kevin alluded to, you guys are doing a lot of, carton type work. Is that where you see future growth with what you're doing digitally wise from digital embellishments?
Um, yeah, Jeff, we're seeing more and more of it, in fact. And I know that a little while ago, Kevin, you mentioned that if it wasn't 5,000, 10,000 sheets, then it's not suitable for a digital run. But
I know.
you'd be surprised. We're doing runs up to 50,000
Wow.
per
Digitally.
job on that machine.
I love
And
it.
that's a digital run. They'll come off the Fuji J press, which is digital, and then they'll come straight over here. We load them on the 3DL and uh, oil and varnish and do whatever we need to do to them.
Can I
What they
ask you can I ask you a stupid question though?
No, please.
You have both digital and conventional in-house.
Yeah,
Why are you running that job digitally?
because it's the weed industry. That is the only reason. Um, Most of what hits the large traditional foil stampers and back, and they'll run a 30 by 40 sheet back there on that stuff. It's going to be wine boxes. It's going to be perfumes. It's going to be um, uh,
So are
body
you saying
serums.
are you
It's
saying there's a visual difference that the weed industry likes digital look?
There is. It's that definitely that
That's
So
different.
it's more
tactile.
the aesthetics than actually the practicality, because
It's
Kevin's point was like there is a cutting off point where traditional would make financially more
correct.
sense, but they like the look.
They're willing to batch things through in segments so that we're not completely
Who
overloaded.
knows
So,
what they're smoking?
well, we know what
We
they're
can
Thank
smoking,
you.
and
Boom.
we do get the samples, so I know exactly what they're smoking.
Matt, real quick, you kind of alluded to that probably a lot of times more of the conventional work for cartons are the larger ones, as you said. Maybe it's a wine box or
Hmm.
a larger folding carton for something where, as you're talking about weed or those that types of packaging
Yeah.
is going to be somewhat smaller. So
Yeah,
you're
that's not
getting a
going to
lot
come in a
more.
huge box, but
Yeah,
if you're running something like, I don't know, Olay, it's going to come in a larger
right.
box overall.
Yeah,
So it does come down to size sometimes.
right.
A lot of the things were just like, it won't fit through the machine. Sorry, you can't have
Yeah.
raised polymer varnish overlays on that. It just
Not going to
can't
happen.
happen.
Right.
So another stupid question, is the weed industry or the cannabis industry the only industry that you guys have seen that prefers the digital aesthetic versus the conventional one?
No, oddly, the other thing that we see the most of in-house for digital polymer varnish and foil are cigars.
Yeah,
And
that's what
I,
That's
the kids
what
are
Chris
saying.
is saying.
yeah, I don't understand it because you wouldn't think that they go for more of a traditional. Um,
So you're doing the little ring things, whatever they're called.
no,
Well,
we're not. we're not, that's interesting. I've never heard of that, but it's something I will mention that to our people and see if that's something they're interested in
Like an
doing.
add-on, yeah. So
Yeah,
what
it's
are you
just,
producing?
we're producing, like if there's a set of cigars, they'll go in a box, like 5 in a box. So we'll produce that box, and then those boxes go in a display. So we'll also do the display boxes to match.
Interesting. Yeah, very
Yes.
interesting.
Huh.
We have some people on this call that are definitely involved from the software side. Kevin, it's one of the other questions. A lot of this is coming about here recently. Certainly Mike and Adobe is still working on a software to launch this next year, helping a lot on the pre-press side. Kevin, you have software to really help on the front end side and the design side. Mark's Color Logic software is extremely important on the side of creating the right metallic colors for different jobs. So, I think this is going to have an impact on digital embellishments, I would think. Kevin, what's your thought on all of that?
My thought is that I'm thrilled to see how many people are now starting to see this big giant gap that exists. And I think you look at what Mike's doing and what Mark has been doing for a very long time. And Mark was really kind of one of the first innovators to kind of to push through in this part of the market. Is look, at the end of the day, we have to take the complication out of designing for this stuff, or it's never going to take off.
Yep.
And I think when you look at what Mike's doing, what Mark's doing, what we're doing, we're just trying to make it easier to be able to design for this stuff and understand what you're getting and being able to move that through. Because look, if there's one thing that's important in this industry is to keep it interesting and to keep it connected to the young generation. You look at all these young people coming up, if we can give them those tools where they're learning in school, where they're understanding how to play with it, and we're making it easy, I think that's a great thing for the industry. So I'm just really happy to see more and more people getting into the space than was before. And I think Adobe coming into the space really marked like a big threshold that was crossed that basically, in my opinion, signaled to the whole industry, all right, guys, here comes digital embellishment. It's the next big thing. And so, Mike, big thanks for all the work that you've been doing and kind of getting the word out that, everybody needs to pay attention to this industry. So just by the moves that you're making, it's making noise and it's getting people more interested in the whole industry as a whole.
Mike, I might have you. Would you update us a little bit on what's happening there from your side and the Adobe side?
Yeah, well, so we're making good progress at the moment. Thanks for the shout out, guys. We are deep into implementation mode. Watch this space in 2026. We did a whole bunch of things at Printing United when we were there, popping up. On the embellishment tour, we were popping up every 30 feet at one point during the tour and being visible. There'll be more to say about that in 2026 as well as we get closer down the road. I'm seeing the demos from what my team are building and what people are building, and they are awesome. And they are gonna.
Awesome.
We're looking forward to a good 2026.
Yeah.
I'd like to tie that into something that you guys have been talking about already in terms of the different markets. And Kevin's talked about everything from the folded carton through to the business cards. And I think one of the things that I would say that we're hearing that's resonating and sort of fitting with that as well is that it's difficult for everybody, and we're going to try and make it easier for everyone. The people who do packaging today for design are actually pretty clever. They're pretty expert. They already have a level of expertise to handle dye lines, to handle brand colors, spot colors, this sort of thing. So to them, the shift to go from, right, I'm going to use PMS 1492 to PMS 871C to PMS 877, and some of you know what those last two are, right? That shift isn't too much of a jump from somebody as opposed to somebody in a web to print environment who has been used to designing their business cards. Probably they didn't even understand CMYK, right? They were probably just saying, oh, that color of black, that color of red, that color of something else. So the actual incremental thing for let's say, the more casual designer, as opposed to the professional, really experienced packaging designer, that gulf in terms of experience we see as being very, very large. We can raise the bar for the guys who have been designing packaging and make it easier for them, and that hopefully they'll thank us for it. But at the other end of the market, the people who have got no concept of what a spot color is. It's just, to them, it's all just color. And the fact that you might have to treat it differently, sometimes these are inline processes, sometimes they're offline processes, sometimes they're integrated processes, is a complete black box to them. They're the people which I think are really going to move the bar as we go into 2026 and beyond.
Excellent. And Mike, I know you and I are going to talk a little bit more here into the new year of what we can do at the Print Embellishment Conference in Nashville. And hopefully there's something we're going to be able to splash and introduce and get a lot of that off the ground. So that's part of what we're working towards. And we're going to be talking more about that. But
Mike, can you tell us when you're planning? We're not in beta yet, right?
We are not in beta yet, no.
Any ETA?
You're not going to tease me beyond that, Sabine.
At the Print Embellishment Conference, June 17th.
No, they got to be out of beta by then. Mike doesn't have that patience.
Well, we'll see. All right. I think that's a lot of great information, guys. Thanks for sharing. Kevin, anything else or other questions we have from Mr. Kevin? Where do you think things are going? I guess this is the last question I know I had here. Where are you seeing digital embellishments? I think you've already answered that somewhat. You're saying packaging like labels and cartons. Anywhere else where you think the growth opportunities are?
I do. I think so. So that's going bigger. And then I'm working with a couple of other companies that are bringing new products to market that are the complete other way. So I don't know if you guys kind of see what ScanAcore is doing with the Finish Pro 3D 1623. It's a 50K unit that does dimensional embellishments. We're working with yep.
And they sold one.
They sold like 15 of them already.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of seeing like what's rapidly being picked up is that a lot of these smaller mom and pop, potentially franchise prints, have been looking at potentially the DDC 810 from Duplo and the Acurio Shine 3600 from Konica, and they just couldn't make that move. They want to. They've studied it. They've been turning around it. They've been trying to crack the math, and they just couldn't make that $150,000-$200,000 investment make sense. Now suddenly you have these new machines that are much slower. It's a sheet or two a minute, but for what their application is, it's a great way to get started. So I personally think that machines like what the ScanAcore thing is coming out with is going to eventually create a domino effect inside the industry where now all the mom and pops are able to push that internally, are not holding back on the sales aspect because they don't want to outsource it. They want to keep everything in-house, meaning that they're going to be doing a lot more marketing on the ground level to the general public. So I'm really looking forward to that domino falling. And the more machines that I think that they place, the more machines people like Harrison Bruno and Skodix and MGI and Duplo will place because it's coming from the mass, not from the very, very top. So it'll be a really interesting space to watch.
One thing I might bring up too is I don't know if you're seeing it, but we deal with label a lot. We're doing hybrid configurations for the last 3 years. So we're doing all the foiling in the first unit, then going digital, and then doing a coating at the end. So yeah, labeled market has been doing this for the last 3 years. We got a lot of clients going more hybrid in their configurations.
Yep, that's definitely very interesting. I think another thing real quick, Mark, is a growth opportunity is what we saw at Printing United with utilizing the metallic substrates from a digital standpoint. There's going to be continued opportunity there. What you helped put together with the Marvel comic posters.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that went over super well at the show, and got a lot of great feedback, I think, from everyone.
Yeah. And I'll say it's not huge numbers, but the other one that I think we all see is collectibles, not just Marvel, but you see all the cards, everything that's going on with those. We got customers left and right doing it. And the other one, I think what you'll see is, I don't know if you guys play in it, but we are image, name, and likeness. And the good news about digital, those players aren't staying in the same college for more than a year, so they can't print too much. So they want their poster for this guy. Next year is going to be at Oklahoma. Next year is at Nebraska. So we're seeing a lot of that movement by some of our clients.
I think that's interesting, Mark, because I talked to one of the big trading card producers who also said, you know, the NIL in the college, you know, that before all that happened, you could not print or you could not create, you know, trading cards for college players, football, basketball, whatever it is. But now with the NIL money and that whole different landscape, they now can produce cards. It's created a whole new marketplace that it's not just the professional trading cards for football, basketball, hockey, whatever.
Yeah.
Now that market is open for the college players. I don't know if that's good overall.
You should see some of these You should see some of these recruitment pieces. Recruitment pieces are getting.
Yeah, so it does lead.
Oh.
You know.
And by the way, they're not smoking it; they're also putting it in gummies.
There you go.
As Mark goes.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, I think we're out of time for this DEA catch up. I really appreciate everybody getting on. I think this was great. This is recorded. I'm going to send something out for more people to be able to watch this one because I think there was a lot of great information that everybody could, you know, contributed to. And thank you, Kevin, for being our main Q&A answer.
Of course.
We'll have we'll have more information on our future DEAs into early next year. So keep an eye on that and the invites as they come out. So thank you guys.
And then sneak preview, just so you know, we're dropping an album next week. It's going to be
It's the Christmas album.
It is the Christmas album.
Oh my
it's
God.
Be amazing. It is coming out so good.
Oh,
so all our partners in there. The FSCA song is phenomenal, Jeff. You're going to love it.
Oh God, I love the first one you did. We're going to play that at the conference.
There you go.
All right, guys. Happy holidays to everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everybody. See ya.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
You guys.
Bye-bye.